Hey guys, so I'm going to start laying down the framework for this video. So I'm first going to start by opening Premiere, and I already have my folders that I need created. Okay, so from here you can make a new project. I'm going to go up to the top here, click File, New, Project. I'm going to call this the Omaha News Spot. And then for the location, you always want to check that. So if you click Browse, and then I have mine in my capstone folder. And I have 3 folders here. One is video, one is project, and one is audio. So I'm going to put this in the project folder. This other stuff, as long as it's whatever the default settings are, that's fine. And then hit OK. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is make a new sequence. So I'm going to right click, go to New Item, and then Sequence. And I'm going to title this the Omaha News as well. You can leave it on these settings, the AVC, HD, and 1080p 60. Okay, so the second thing I'm going to do is make a new bin. And I'm just going to put the B-roll here, and then another new bin, and we'll just do like main clips, because we're making a spot, we're not making a news package. So if I had a news package, I'd have a stand-up folder, a B-roll folder, and then an interviews folder. So we'll do another bin that's just audio. We'll import the audio first. You just double click and open it. Then you right click and import. And from here I'm going to go to my capstone folder. So I have 2 more folders in here. One is the music bed and one is the voiceover, which is your script. I don't have the script recorded yet, so there's nothing in there. And the ONews Open Audio is in the music bed folder. Just double click and import that. And then I'm going to drag and drop that onto the timeline. Close out of that. For here, I'm just going to import all the clips that I have. So the clips I downloaded into Canon footage, which is my handheld camera, and Panasonic camera footage, which is the stand-up camera. So I imported these from the Panasonic SD card. They were in the stream folder. So I'm just going to click, hold shift to select all of them and click open. Okay, it looks like they all imported, so now I'm going to open B-roll and import. And I'll go to the Canon footage now. And these were mostly B-roll shots. So I just shift clicked that and open. Okay, so now that we've got everything imported, I have the storyboard that I made in front of me on a piece of paper, so I have that to look at as I edit. I'm just using the scroll wheel here to make the track a little bit bigger, and then grabbing and I use the plus and minus keys to make the track zoom in and zoom out. It's a shortcut for those. So I like to keep my video 1 and audio 1 pretty big so I can make sure the audio levels are okay. I enlarge audio 2 as well. And to reset these, just scroll on the scroll wheel back to make them smaller. And then you just scroll up to make them bigger. Okay, so now that my audio is here alone. I'm going to check the levels of it because I just dropped it in. I don't have any clips messing with it. So I'm going to hit the space bar. I use a lot of hotkeys when I edit. I'll try to say which ones I'm using as I'm using them. So I hit space to start the playback. You can listen on the side. So you want to keep voices from -3, which is right here. 0 is at the top. So you want to keep your voices like -3 to -9. That's kind of the safe zone. The closer to 0 you are, the closer the audio is going to crackle. So maybe give yourself a pad. Don't let it go into the red. I'm going to
from the studios of UNO Television. This is the Omaha News.
So that sounds better. If we wanted to be really fancy, you can see with the waveforms here how it's kind of low and then it jumps up high. If I hit the C button or the razor tool over here and click, it separates the clips. So because in the beginning this is pretty quiet, I can raise it up a little bit. It's peaking around 15. This is just a hair louder. Still so you can do this in Audition too, but if you don't have Audition, you can't really like add a hard limiter, which would make it so it can't go above this 15. So this is kind of just like an easy, quick way to fix the audio. I like to do the music bits first because it's a lot harder to do them later after you have the music like chopped up if you're gonna change it at all. So we know that our clip is going to be, or our project rather, is going to be 30 seconds long. So what I like to do in the beginning, just so I visually know how much space I have to work with, I go up to marker here at the top and I add a chapter marker, and you can make them different colors, which is a little different from the regular markers. So I always just title this end. And then I hit OK. So now I have this spot right here that basically tells me like that's all the room I have to work with. You can also use the in and out segment markers, and that's I and O. So if I wanted to put the I here and the O here, it kind of does the same thing, except it highlights everything, and that kind of bothers me when I'm editing. So to get rid of that, you right click here, anywhere on the timeline, and clear in and out. So it'll still have like the markers here, but it won't be like highlighted. Okay, so now that our music bed is done, we'll go back to the project tab and we'll start on the main clips. Okay, so now that we're done with our audio, we're gonna click on our main clips, and I'll just start with the first one on our storyboard. So the first one is the newspaper. So I just double click to open that, and then so basically just look through the clips and look for one that looks good, like, and is long enough. So I'm just gonna watch this. Let's see which one. I like her subtle satisfaction with, like, she read something she enjoyed reading about. Yeah, like this clip right here. So if you know what segment you want to use, you can edit the clip in this mode here before you've actually drug it into the timeline. So I think from about like here, I'm going to hit I, and give myself some padding, and do O. And then I click and drag down to the timeline. So you see when you drag it here, automatically it wants to overwrite the audio 1 track. So drag it up to the video 2 and audio 2 track. It'll automatically go. Okay, so for this next part, you want to make sure that the linked selection button is unchecked. So by default, it'll be blue. You want to make it gray. And now we can click on this audio track here that's linked with this, and you can see they're linked by activating that. And they both get selected. So we only want the audio from the video that we're not using, and we want to highlight that and then click the delete key. You can also right click and cut to delete. So now that the audio's gone there, it won't mess up our B-roll there, or our music bed rather. It might be smart at this point to highlight our whole music bed and move it down to the lower track so we can just drop clips. Okay, so I'm gonna look and see. Okay, I don't want to listen to the O News promo music 100 times, so I'm gonna move it down there for now. Okay, so that looks good to me. And as you're sorting through clips, you see this little blue icon when you drag a clip into the timeline. So that tells me neither of these are being used in the video, but this one is. I'm going to mark this with a different colored pen on the storyboard. Okay, so now we have our next shot, and these aren't necessarily shot in order. It's the research, and I'm pretty sure that's where we had her writing the email. I think this is the number 3. Okay, and I'm hitting space to automatically play. By default, I think it starts wherever you have this. So if you move this to the front, I think... Okay, so it's just these 2 shots, and then I'm pretty sure I have another shot in the B-roll folder. They're both pretty similar. We want to make sure we don't get a shot of her typing in the password wrong. Yeah, so from the beginning to about here, I just used I and O to mark those in and out points. And we're going to click and drag it into the timeline. So I'm going to click on just the audio, and you need to make sure the link selection is still off, and just click the delete key or right click and cut. Okay, so now we've got this. Well, looks fine to me. And we'll check that off on the storyboard. So the next one is the interview shot, which is in the B-roll folder. So I'm gonna just go ahead and click and drag this entire thing into the timeline. And then I'm gonna click on the audio and delete it. It helps me when I edit if I'm not also listening to the audio sometimes. I remember when I recorded this that I also was recording on my Canon. So I'm going to look here.
Personally, I'm into the blimp that throws t-shirts down.
Okay, so I actually might need the audio from this. So I'm going to Control Z to bring back the audio, which is an undo. Control Shift and Z is redo. So undo, redo. So the first clip was 7274. So I'm gonna listen to this.
Their name.
She's, you
10,000
know
times.
what movie she's in? She's in
Okay,
Arrival.
so she said, "Do you know what movie she's in?" That was like almost at the beginning.
It should.
Personally, I'm into the blimp that throws t-shirts down.
Razor blades.
Okay, razor blades.
If their team doesn't win, and like that's doesn't seem.
That celebrity was at the game.
Dwayne.
And his wife is black woman who worked at NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures.
Yeah, she's in that movie. I'm pretty.
Okay, maybe I don't need the audio. But I am going to use these clips first. So I'm going to just drag all three of them into here. And I'm going to... Yeah, we'll just watch from here.
On razor. Like dance on razor blades. It should.
Personally, I'm into the blimp.
So I'm looking for
Their team doesn't win, and like that's doesn't seem healthy for Nebraska.
Did you see that celebrity was at the game?
Dwayne.
And his wife is a black woman who worked at NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures.
Yeah.
I got... Let me get the news out. Nah, man. Okay, so this is kind of what happens as I edit. I make mistakes, and then I can always go back and bring back the audio. I just went into main clips, and I'm dragging it back in there. I think there's an option to get the audio back, but it's more trouble than it's worth. So I think I want to take that clip of them talking about Hidden Figures.
Wait, who was she? 10,000
You know
times.
what movie she's in? She's in
Arrival.
No, she's in that movie about the black woman who worked at NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures.
Yeah, she's in that movie. I'm pretty sure.
Wait, who was she?
The black woman who worked. The black woman who worked at NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures.
Yeah, she's in that movie. I'm pretty sure.
Wait, who was she? Hidden Figures.
Yeah, she's in that movie. I'm pretty sure.
Who was she?
Is she not? She's not.
Okay, so in this one,
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures.
this one here looks away, so I'm gonna put the O right before that, and then I'll drop this clip over here.
Who worked at NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures.
Yeah, she's in that movie.
Okay, so I know I don't want to use any of these clips because I drug this little bit over here. So just hit delete, move around, and drag these closer to the front. So I'm going to turn linked selection back on. So when I move, well, I guess these two aren't linked. Strange. So always make sure you move the audio and video track together. You don't want to get them separate. If you turn on linked selection, usually that causes it, but for this one it didn't. So I know we're not using the audio for any of these, but I want to keep them together because I want to sync up the dialogue.
my gosh, Hidden Figures?
Yeah, she's in that movie, I'm pretty sure.
Wait,
I
who
don't
was
think
she?
she was, because I just worked at NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures?
Yeah, she's in that movie, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, who was she?
Is she not?
Okay, so he looks away right there. And I thought I had taken it in, maybe I didn't. So for these, I'm hitting C to cut and V to select. And those you can see if you mouse over the pointer tool and the razor tool. So the C and the V are really close to each other on the keyboard, so it's really easy to cut like that. So I'm going to highlight and press the delete key.
Worked at NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures?
Yeah, she's in that movie, I'm pretty
Okay, so I think I like...
at NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures?
Yeah, she's in that movie.
his reaction here to Hidden Figures. So I'm going to put the close-up first. So you can see the lighting is a little bit different in these shots, especially this one, because this is the Canon camera. So we'll try and fix
The
that.
black woman who worked at NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm hitting the plus key here.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures?
Yeah,
Okay, so I want him to
Hidden
say
Figures.
this right before she answers, and I'm using this scrubber right here. I think it's called like the timeline header or something. And I'm looking at the waveform down here, so you can see it says
Hidden Figures?
yeah, she
like, oh my gosh, Hidden Figures.
Hidden Figures?
Yeah.
And then she says, yeah, right here. You can see that small stop. So I'm going to hit the C button and click. And then click up here. And then select these and press delete. And then I'm going to hit the minus key to zoom back out. And highlight that and pull it over here. Plus key to then zoom in again. Probably don't need to be that zoomed in.
worked at NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures?
Yeah,
Okay, so now I need to match this one.
yeah, she's
Figures?
So right here should be good. And we want the beginning part of that gone because we'll have that in that first shot.
black woman who worked at NASA.
Oh my god.
At NASA.
Oh my.
I never worked at NASA.
Okay, so I want a little bit of him listening in the beginning, but not too much. I'm going to turn link selection back on.
Worked at NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures?
Okay, I'm using the minus key to zoom out. I'm going to try butting these up next to each other and see how
Worked at
it goes.
NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures?
Yeah, she's in that movie, I'm pretty sure.
Wait,
I
who
don't
was
think-
she?
Okay, that works for now. So I'm going to highlight all of this and pull it a little bit closer there. Okay, and now I'm going to check that off. So the next shot is the stand-up, and I have that in the B-roll folder mostly. So I'll just watch them in here, so it looks like 7268. The bell's so loud. So I probably won't use that one. So the only thing I'm noticing immediately is that I wish I had told her to fix her posture a little bit. It's not bad, but it looks like she's slouching a little bit. I like the composition of this shot better because it's cut right above her knees. It's not cut way down. This one is way too angled. That was the first take I did. I think you kind of get the idea better in this shot, but I like...
More.
Okay, so you can see in the very beginning here, I suppose, that I'm talking. So you always want to make sure you don't get any of you talking. And she's also looking at the camera. Let's see if she's more in these other clips. I guess there's just 2.
Okay, ready when you are.
For the Omaha News, I'm Charlotte Riley.
More.
Okay, so she looks at me. So it needs to cut right before her eyes go to the camera. So I'm just using the I and O keys to do that. I'm going to click and drag that down into the timeline. And then I'm going to hit the link selection button, select the audio, and delete it. I'm going to keep this audio here until I know for sure I want to keep those 2 shots together, just so I can sync it up a little bit easier. And let's check the Panasonic. Okay, so just this one clip here. I think I kept the camera rolling the whole time.
Just talk whenever.
Yeah, here, I'll let you know. It's a cool shot with the flags.
Sorry, I'm like squinting and looking at you.
Okay, and then just say that.
For the Omaha News, I'm Charlotte Riley. Again.
Okay, ready when you are.
For the Omaha News, I'm Charlotte Riley.
A little bit.
Okay, we'll do one more.
Okay, I like this shot because there's a little bit of sun on her face. So I'm gonna hit I.
Charlotte Riley.
Okay, so something when you're doing your stand-up, make sure you don't look away or do anything. Give yourself like a buffer of 3 seconds, because you can see I would use this shot, but when she says Riley, she looks up very, very soon after. And you could cut it here, but she's still giving a lot of look, so we'll look for a better take.
Okay, ready when you are.
For the Omaha.
And this one right here, she took a breath.
For the Omaha News.
The wind is blowing a little stronger in these parts.
Okay, ready when you are.
For the Omaha.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm like squishing. For the Omaha News.
So,
For the Omaha News. Omaha News.
okay, so I think that's about.
For the Omaha News, I'm Charlotte Riley.
Okay, so right there where her eyes are closed and you can't see her eyeballs looking away, that's where I'm gonna hit.
For the Omaha News, I'm Charlotte Riley.
Okay, I think I'll keep that one. So I'm just gonna click and drag that down here. And I'll delete the audio. And I think I would want to put this one first. Okay, I definitely want to get rid of that part in the beginning where she takes a breath because I want it to be fluid. So I hit C and then V for the mouse pointer, click and delete. And I'll put those together. Minus key. Maybe I want to say for the Omaha News. Right there. So I'm going to make a cut there. And then her mouth is closed there. I'll make another cut. And delete. Pull that up. Okay, delete that second part of that clip. Put them together. Okay, that was kind of cool. They might look weird in succession with
At NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures?
Yeah, she's in that movie, I'm pretty sure.
Wait,
I
who
don't
was she?
think-
Okay, so we'll definitely need some kind of effect to transition between these. If we hit minus, we didn't really trim this clip at all. Okay, so I want the action. So I'm going to have her right before hit the plus key, C key, and cut. I'm going to cut this whole beginning part. Perfect, that's like all we need. That's about 2 seconds. Cut, delete. I'm gonna bring this to the way beginning. Slide this up. So on my sheet, I have each shot being around 2 seconds. So this is just barely 3. I like the little bounce the paper gives right there, but I'm going to cut this extra bit. And I'm going to slide that all the way up. And you can see when it snaps, when you have the magnet tool active right here, the clips will just snap together. And if you don't have the magnet tool on, and you bring them really close, but not exactly when you zoom in, you can see there's that tiny space, but zoomed out, it doesn't look like anything. You'll see a frame flash right here. Just like one frame of black, and you want to avoid that. It looks really bad on air. So we'll just click and snap those together. Okay, so I'm going to watch this. So I want her typing, and I want it to be about 2 seconds. I'll just cut it there. And take the beginning. Okay, so now that I trimmed that second clip a little bit, looks good. I'll pull these. Actually, I'm still going to keep some room between these because I have some more B-roll clips that I didn't add in the beginning. So here is the clip.
Doing my thing.
Just mouse over and click send.
Internship class.
Maybe continue.
Just mouse over and click send.
Okay, so I want to get the mouse pointer moving. I'm going to hit I.
Click send. minus, click send.
Okay, and then I'll hit O, and I'll click and drag this here.
Click send.
Internship class.
So the only problem is she's logging in here, so I don't know if it makes sense to use the send. We have her writing a story here, and we could maybe, instead of that shot, use that. That's so long. I think I just won't use that. Okay, and we already looked at the stand-up shot.
At NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures?
Yeah, she's in that movie, I'm pretty sure.
Wait,
I
who
don't
was
think-
she?
Okay. So it says the next shot is the shooting B-roll shot.
I didn't know for long.
Okay, when you're ready, just click on, like, yeah.
Okay, I know I'm not going to want to use any of that, so I just hit the delete key.
Okay, you can go.
She's like, that's not supposed to happen.
It's a little hesitant there.
Zero obligation.
Okay.
And Christmas is like, you better not make grandma cry.
I think I like this one better.
Okay, you can go. Okay, you can go.
And then I'll stop it right there. Pull that down, delete the audio. Oops, okay. It's important to make sure you're following your storyboard if you have one. Make sure you don't get confused. I left the stand-up footage over there and I didn't realize I didn't move it. Okay, so there's the B-roll shot. And now we have a shot, a couple shots of editing. So since I'm in the B-roll folder.
Okay, go for it.
My friend.
Okay, I remember when I shot this, we ended up changing something in the last take.
Okay, hit play.
This is a little out of focus. It's in focus here, so I must have recomposed and not refocused. Face and the reflection there, which isn't necessarily bad.
Okay, go for it.
My friend.
Okay, go. Okay, go for it.
I think this one I'm a little, yeah, I'm just a hair closer, and you can also see her face just a little bit more. I don't want to use this one because it's out of focus, so I'm going to delete it.
Okay, go for it.
My friend.
I think this one's
Okay, go.
you can see her face in it. I think that's kind of interesting. So I'm going to pull that entire clip because it's only 6 seconds. Delete the audio. And hit the minus key to zoom out just a little bit. Now I'll go back into my main clips folder. And here is some B-roll from the Panasonic that I didn't realize I had. That's why I like to leave space in between here because I know I'm going to find our clips.
Yeah. So basically, like, pretend.
So you can see the reflection of our feet up here. Make it like it's just a shadow. So I'm gonna hit I here while the feet are kind of together. And do that. And that's 22 seconds. I only need a couple seconds. So I'll actually just grab with the red arrow here and shorten that way down. And you can see this gray number here is changing as I'm doing that. And it's making the clip shorter. So I know I'm only going to need 3 or 4 seconds of that, if even that much. So I'm going to reverse the order of these. Delete that audio. Okay, so I definitely want that to be way shorter. So I just grabbed the edge of that and pulled it to make it smaller. Alright, so that looks fine to me. Let's see if I missed anything else while I'm in here. It doesn't look like it. Okay, so next we have the clips of her editing. I'm just using the playhead here to scroll through it fast so I don't have to watch the whole thing. Okay, I'm gonna hit I right here. And then wait till the O News television logo comes in and stops there. This is also 4 seconds. I'm gonna pull that into there. Let's see if there's another one. Oh right, I had her put in earbuds for this last one. I'm gonna do it right before she puts them in, so an I. And then an O, and that's about 4 seconds. Delete the audio and delete the audio there. Okay, so I've got 2 versions of that scene to pick from. So she's editing this one too. Okay, I like that clip the best. So between these two, that one is stagnant compared to this one, where she's putting in headphones. So I'm going to click the first one and delete it, and I'm going to click the end of this and drag it out a little bit so I can see. She does like a twisting motion here that I don't necessarily want to start if I can't finish. So I'll stop her right there. And then I drug the playhead to that specific spot and pulled on the clip and it snapped and deleted that. Yeah, so right there. I'm going to drag that closer. So I notice the audio levels are really loud in this clip, like you can see, like the red bar is there. And I think that's why I had her redo it. I'm gonna check the B-roll again and see. I thought I had turned down the quality so it wasn't bad, but it's
Yeah.
So another continuity error, I suppose, if I was trying to make these shots sync up. She's putting her headphones in this clip, but she's not doing anything in this clip. So these kind of go together though, otherwise. Unless maybe I like mirrored the video, like flipped it so it looked like... yeah, the motion kind of does go together. Doesn't look bad. So the downside is I didn't film any longer than the UNO logo, and it's like she's watching it twice. So maybe when it spins, but she puts in the headphones in the end. So this definitely can be shortened a little bit. And you can see up in the right panel how it's changing frame by frame on the right. So maybe we'll have it like right as that red bar comes in. And then pull that and see how that looks. We'll leave that for now and see how much time we have to work with. Okay, so we got the editing lab shot done. So now we have the satisfied shot that we struggled with coming up an idea. You can see shadow now. So I'm gonna hit I and O. Drag that down. Delete the audio. So I think the other, I took some of the TV.
But
on my camera. I must not have checked the settings there. So maybe something cool to do would have her stand-up be playing on TV. That would be a really easy way to communicate to the consumer or to whoever's watching it that she's on TV. So I don't think the shot is usable necessarily for superimposing that. So if I need it, I'll come back to it. Okay, and then for the end here, we're going to put in I don't think I imported the official ONews stuff. So I'm going to make a new bin and do the Omaha News official video. And then right click import. And I'm going to go to logos. And here's what Mr. Paholski gave me. It's the ONews bump back. I'm going to open that. Okay, and then I'm going to zoom out on the timeline. And drag this here. Just to, in case it was too long, it might overwrite this a little bit, so you have to be careful. Okay. And I haven't watched this yet, so we'll see what it is.
This is the Omaha News.
Okay, so how long was this? 58 to 56, so 8 seconds long. Okay, so I want this cut here at the end because I know I want to put a title on it. So I'm going to go to New Bin and make a title folder. Open it, right click, New Item, Title. And I am using Premiere 2015. I don't think I said that in the beginning, but I think the title area is kind of changed. So I'm going to put social media. Okay, so my title was actually on a second monitor, so I have it set up a little bit differently than it will be when you go to create a title. But I know I want a title here because I'm going to put social media handles on it. So you can click the text box, just click straight on the screen, and type right there. I think I have it underlined from whatever I was using before. Control U turns that on and off. So I'm just going to leave this blank for now and just keep it here so I have a blank title ready to go when I need it. Okay, so I'm going to hit the minus key and zoom out a little bit and kind of just look at what I have.
At NASA.
Oh my gosh, Hidden Figures?
Yeah, she's in that movie, I'm pretty sure.
Wait.
Okay, I know I'm going to want to keep that, so now I'm going to delete that audio. That cut seemed a little quick. It's her saying for the Omaha News. The lighting also changes quite a bit there. That's why those shots look kind of weird. Maybe I'll look in the Canon clips and see. They're all pretty sunny. The weather changed so fast that day. There isn't really a time when it's super bright. Like, I guess like right here. What is that, 009?
Just talk whenever.
Yeah, if we had done you can see the sunlight disappear. As I did in the beginning. I
Just
must have shot this before.
talk whenever.
Alright, well, we'll figure that out. Not right this second, though. So I think we want, I'm going to drag this up and then drag this over and drag this to the end just so you can see what it looks like in a different order. Okay, she does spend some time getting her earbuds in. So I'll go right until here. So it's right as the font expands on the O down there in the bottom of the video. Delete this second part and then go find that over here, which would be right there. Let's see. Delete the front part of that one. Drag this. Okay, and that's the end of that clip, so we don't have a lot of that clip. It's not very long. It's only a second, 2.25. So that means we need more. I'm just going to drag this forward and drag this out a little bit and see what's up front. So maybe this is 1 second, 58 milliseconds. As far as continuity, this looks pretty similar. There's just a little bit missing. It needs to be fluid. Yeah, so now this clip is too short. So I want to make it a little bit longer. Right before the UNO logo comes in. Let's see if that looks better. It's close, but it's not perfect. This could go for just a little bit longer. So we want the motion to stop. So this, you can just see the sun, so we want to match that, which is about right there. And I just looked, and you can just barely make out the O in the N. I'm gonna try that. Yeah, that looks fluid. You can kind of feel it's like less choppy. Okay, and this clip is 2 seconds, 48 milliseconds, so about 2.5 seconds. And we get the O News bump.
This is the Omaha News.
Okay, so we want to make sure we keep all this stuff together. So we're going to put it in a group. And I just went right click, group, and now it says on group. So that way, when you click, it highlights everything, and you have to have link selection on to do this. But since I have this cut here, I don't want to lose that, so I'm just going to drag that there. Okay, so sitting with space in between, we're at 37 seconds. We can't go over 30 seconds. So now that I'm kind of happy with just how the beginning storyline is and seeing these clips in a sequence, I'm going to double check and make sure I used every shot that I wanted to.
If their team doesn't win, and like that's doesn't seem healthy for Nebraska.
Did you see that celebrity was at the
That's such a quick cut. I don't know if I like that. We'll see how it flows together. I have a feeling I'll end up expanding the first clip just a little bit. Yep, okay, well I think that is... Okay, so I'm going to click on the little spaces in between the video, hit the plus key to make it a little bigger, click this, hit delete, or you can right click ripple delete. And ripple delete is just getting rid of any blank space between clips. Okay, so we need to shorten this by 3 seconds at minimum. It can't be shorter than 30 and it can't be more than 30. So if anything, there's a couple seconds we can cut here. And I'm sure there's some extra footage here too. So let's grab the O News music and put it all the way at the beginning. And I'm going to hit the plus button a couple times. Did you catch that? There's a black frame right here. Very obvious when you watch it. Okay, so delete. That gives us 1 more second. Well, milliseconds. Everything matters. So this is a very good clip. It's almost a full minute. That's kind of a cute fade out. So
On News, presented by UNO School of Communication.
did you hear it? The cadence. Yeah, see right here.
News, presented by UNO School of Communication.
It's like it was designed to be cut there. Okay, so I'm going to take the cut tool and just snip it at the end of this. And we'll have to adjust that a little bit. Yeah, too bad. So this is going to end up being 30 seconds anyway, so now that I've shortened it, I'll just leave it because I know I'm going to have to get rid of 3 seconds somewhere in here. Okay, so now I have to think about the script that we wrote to go with this video. So I'm going to pull that up. Okay, so I'm going to open Audition and just record what I have here. Double check my microphone settings. So I'm going to go to File, New, Multi-Track Session. I'm going to call this the Omaha News VO Draft. I'm going to browse and put this in the capstone folder. I'm going to put it in Audio and VO, then hit OK. Alright, so I'm going to record, arm to record. Okay, and then I'm just going to record a rough draft of the script. The Omaha News is a news program ran by UNO students. Students develop their own news stories and create nonprofit advertisements with real-world clients. The Omaha News allows students to gain hands-on experience in the journalism industry while building professional relationships. Students develop unique story ideas, interview their own sources, and edit their own videos. Join us live for the Omaha News on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on NET, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at UNO The Omaha News. Okay, so I had timed that before I wrote it out with my iPhone stopwatch, so you can see it is almost exactly 30 seconds, which is good. Story ideas, interview their own sources, and edit their own videos. Okay, so the microphone quality isn't very good compared to the Whisper Room, so this is just a quick draft just to stick in the video. And then I'll record the final version in class. So now I'm going to go to Export, Multi-Track Mixdown, Entire Session, and I'm going to change this, put that in the capstone folder as well, and it's called the Draft Mixdown, which is basically just like a mixdown of your vocals. It's like exporting a Premiere Pro project. Okay, so I'm going to close Audition, and I'm going to go into Audio, Import, and go back to the voiceover, and here's the file I just exported. So I'm going to click Open, and I'm going to drag and drop this into the video. So I'm going to make my audio too small because that's just the music bed. The Omaha News is a news program. The first thing I notice is that the music is way too loud. So I'm going to click the M and I'm going to mute that track. The Omaha News. Okay, so I'm going to cut this beginning bit. Slide that up. The Omaha News is a news. Okay, so I'm going to raise this little white line here. I just grabbed it. This program ran by UNO students. Students develop their own news stories and create nonprofit advertisements with real-world clients. So my speaking voice naturally is around -18 decibels. I'm going to see if there are any audio effects in here. I'm going to put this back at 0. I heard compressing is a good effect to use. So I'm going to look at that and just click on effect controls here. The Omaha News allows students to gain hands-on experience in the journalism industry while building professional relationships. Students develop unique... So this wasn't too bad. The brick wall limiter. Let's see, the voice-over. I wonder what that does. Story ideas, interview their own sources, and edit their own video. I don't really like that. I do need a vocal booster. The Omaha News is a news program ran by UNO students. Students develop their own news stories and create nonprofit advertisements with real-world clients. The Omaha News allows students to gain hands-on experience in the journalism industry while building professional relationships. Students develop unique story ideas, interview their own sources, and edit their own videos. Join us live for the Omaha News on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on NET, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at UNO The Omaha News. Okay, so I'm going to cut this little bit here. And I think that sounds fine. There was one spot where it peaked a little bit, but I'm not really worried about making sure the vocals are perfect because I'm going to be recording a new one. So I'll just unmute the music. The Omaha News is a news program ran by UNO students. Okay, so just for the sake of hearing myself over the music, the Omaha News. Okay, so see, because these are cut, the changes have to be made to both of the tracks if you don't want them to sound different in level. So I'm going to pay attention to this little number that pops up as I drag this white line. Let's try -12. I'm going to click the S button, that means solo. And that's the only one that will play. It's the opposite of mute. I want it to be pretty quiet. So this is at -9.88. Actually, it may have changed automatically. Maybe it linked them together. No, it didn't. I'm not liking how this is sounding, so I'm going to Control Z. I'll just bring the sound up here. And maybe if I go to audio mixer. This allows students to gain hands-on experience in the journalism industry while building professional relationships. Students develop unique story ideas, interview their own sources, and edit their own videos. Okay, so I think this is the volume knob. I haven't used this a whole lot. So the L and R is for the left channel and the right channel of your headphones, so you don't want to mess with that. The Omaha News is a news program ran by UNO students. Students develop their own news stories and create nonprofit advertisements with real-world clients. The Omaha News allows students to gain hands-on experience in the journalism industry while building professional relationships. Students develop unique story ideas, interview their own sources, and edit their own videos. Join us live for the Omaha News on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on NET, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at UNO The Omaha News.
Omaha News. Presented by UNO School of Communication.
Okay, so I'm going to unlink this and delete that. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at UNO The Omaha News.
Omaha News.
And follow us on Facebook and Twitter at. So I'm going to watch the time code. It's 25. And follow us on Facebook and Twitter at UNO The Omaha News. Let's see. What would it look like if I cut this and moved this bit over here? And then grab these two clips. Alright. It's actually a couple seconds short if we do that. On Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on NET, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at UNO The Omaha News.
Omaha News.
Okay, so we can go until about right there. And follow us on Facebook and Twitter at UNO The Omaha News. Okay, I don't know if this is going to work, but this may be a kind of solution to this extra bit of time that I have to work with. So I'm going to grab, first of all, what I did is I took this little bit here and I'm dragging it to video 2, and I make sure it snaps with the bottom clip here. So I'm going to go to Effect Controls and open the Motion tab. And I'm going to make this smaller. So you can drag it around with the position. So the one we want is scale. So we're going to make it smaller. And basically you can either double click on the screen right here and move it around with your mouse, or you can go back and forth with the X and Y. I bet there's some kind of blending mode that you can use to stretch this. That's like a quick and dirty. Omaha News on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on NET, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at UNO on NET, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at UNO The Omaha News.
Omaha News.
And Twitter at UNO The Omaha News. Okay, so whatever is here has to be cut. So I'm going to chop that, chop that, chop that, hit the V button, delete, delete, delete. Okay, so now we have something that is 30 seconds long, and we can check that. You can see 30:00. You can also type 00, comma 00, comma 30, comma 00, and it'll bring you there as well. So, we'll watch it here from the very beginning again. This time, I'm going to keep an eye on the audio. Omaha News is a news program ran by UNO students. Students develop their own news stories and create nonprofit advertisements with real-world clients. So this is... The Omaha News allows students to gain hands-on experience. This is a little teeny bit too quiet here. Experience in the journalism industry while building professional relationships. And by UNO students. Students develop their own news stories and create nonprofit advertisements with real-world clients. The Omaha News allows students to gain hands-on experience in the journalism industry while building professional relationships. Students develop unique story ideas, interview their own sources, and edit their own videos. Join us live for the Omaha News on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on NET, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at UNO The Omaha News.
The Omaha News.
Facebook and Twitter at UNO The Omaha News. UNO The Omaha News.
The Omaha News.
So maybe I'll make a note to myself to speak slightly faster. And follow us on Facebook and 4 p.m. on NET. And follow. So right here is when the announcer comes in for the Omaha News. So I want my audio to be done before that. So it looks like I might need to get rid of a sentence. The Omaha News is a news program ran by UNO students. Students develop their own news stories and create nonprofit advertisements with real-world clients. Okay, so now I'm just going to start cleaning up these clips. The Omaha News is a news program ran by UNO students. Students develop their own news stories and create nonprofit advertisements. So I noticed the color is a little crazy in that one. I haven't really messed with color all that much, but I'll try. Maybe I'll try going to Window, Workspace, Color. Yes, you can see the yellows are totally crushed up here at the top. Okay, so you can see those reds, it was like this, it was completely crushed up at the top. So right before they start getting crushed. The midtones. Let's see, bring those up. How does that look? Students develop their own news stories and create nonprofit ad. It looks a little desaturated. So I'm going to turn the saturation up. And create nonprofit advertisements with real-world clients. The Omaha News is a news. Okay, so in this one the shadows look good. Highlights are just a little bit crushed there. The midtones could be upped just a little bit. So this shot looks like the highlights are a little bit high. Shadows look good. And the midtones look good, I'd say about there. Students develop their own news stories and create nonprofit advertising. Okay, so for this one, it's just way too dark. Let's see if we can turn the shadows down. Maybe we just need to turn the exposure up. Highlights up a little bit. So it's super, super orange. That's a little better. So matching these two are going to be pretty hard. I think I'm just going to delete that and this. their own news stories and create nonprofit advertisements with real-world clients. It's almost like this one just needs to be upped in exposure a little bit. And then this, the highlights as well. Omaha News allows students to gain hands-on experience. You can't really use the Lumetri scope if it's not stopped, so that's why I did that. So this was the one where the light was really low. So turn the shadows up just a little bit and the highlights up. Turn the midtones up a little bit. And then we'll make it a little more saturated. News allows students to gain hands-on. And then for this one, I kind of want to do the opposite. So go back into basic correction. Don't want to turn the exposure down, but highlights just a little bit. And I'll turn the shadows up just a hair. Midtones are kind of good where they're at. News allows students to gain hands-on. So, if I didn't say it before, you just click the effect and then click delete if you don't like it. I just think they look a little bit too... Omaha News allows students to gain hands-on experience. They look different here too. But faking sunlight is really hard to do. Maybe turn up the whites and darken the midtones and raise the highlights a little bit. News allows students to gain hands-on experience. That looks better. So for here, turn down hands-on experience in the journalism industry while building professional relationships. Students develop unique... Okay, this looks a little yellow. I'm going to add some blue to it to get rid of that yellow cast. Not too much, but... Story ideas, relationships. Students develop unique... And I'm going to turn up the saturation on this too. Students develop unique story. Then I'll go back into the color wheels. Turn down the shadows. Turn up the highlights and turn up the midtones. Students develop unique story. Maybe I'll go into curves and red. And I just want to make sure ideas, interview their own source. Students develop unique. And then for this shot, just so it's easier to match with the bricks, I'm going to go back to creative and turn the saturation down just a little bit, not too much. In professional relationships, students develop unique story ideas. I'm not sure if I like the way that looks. Yeah, the whites are way too white. So I guess I will start it over. Try turning down the shadows. Yeah, taking a little bit of contrast out. And adding some saturation back in. I think what affected that Lumetri color last time was that I had the temperature too cool. Students develop unique story. Develop unique story ideas. And then for this shot, just so it's easier to match with the bricks, I'm going to go back to creative and turn the saturation down just a little bit. Students develop unique story. And then for this shot, just so it's easier to match with the bricks, I'm going to go back to creative and turn the saturation down just a little bit. Students develop unique story. Maybe.
Free ideas, interview their own sources, and edit their own videos. Join.
Okay, this clip needs warp stabilizer. So I'm going to go back to the editing tab and go to warp. And it's this one right here. Just click and drag it to the clip. Okay, so I want smooth motion. I do want it to stabilize, crop, and auto scale. And then I'm going to highlight this clip and press enter, and that will basically put all of Premiere's resources to rendering. And now that it's green here, should be good, and then it looks like it's analyzing the frames over here. Okay, so now let's again.
And edit their own videos. Join us live for the Omaha News on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on NET.
From the studio.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure. Get rid of the warp there. Yeah, edge feather. Amount. We want it enough. I think there's a way to make this bigger. I don't remember what it is though. F11 maybe? No. Nope. Okay, so I think I'm gonna rotate this a little bit, just so it fits. So I'm using the rotate and I'm dragging left and right. Okay, I might make it just a hair bigger. Okay, let's see what that looks like.
Live for the Omaha News on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on NET.
From the studio
And follow us
of
on
UNO
Facebook
Television.
and Twitter at UNO The
This
Omaha
is
News.
the Omaha News.
Okay, so while I'm thinking of it, I'm gonna go to audio transitions, crossfade, and exponential fade, and put that on the end of that one, and on the end of that. That's my voice.
And Twitter at UNO The
This
Omaha
is
News.
the Omaha News.
I'm going to shorten that to make it very small. Same with this one. Hit the plus key.
Omaha News.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure it didn't cut off the F.
Omaha News.
So maybe make it even a little bit smaller. Okay. Now I will watch it from the beginning.
The Omaha News is a news program ran by UNO students. Students develop their own news stories and create nonprofit advertisements with real-world clients.
That clip needs warp stabilizer too. Okay, I'm gonna hit enter again. I'm gonna force it to stabilize that clip. Okay, so now it is generating the frames over here.
Advertisements with real-world clients.
So you can see it's drastically changed that. So it's just really looks at time. It's dealing with two different ways cameras see color, and that's kind of the hard part about using a Canon camera and a Panasonic camera, because the colors are totally different and the exposure. This one is a little overexposed, this one's a little underexposed, so I can bring this one down a little bit.
Nonprofit advertisements with real-world clients.
Which, honestly, yeah, I'm just gonna leave these alone, and then work with somebody else to fix those too.
News allows students to gain hands-on experience in the journalism industry while building.
This needs warp stabilizer. I'm gonna go back to editing. Hit enter and let that render. Okay, so we got that rendered.
On experience in the journalism industry while building professional relationships. Students develop unique story ideas, interview their own sources, and edit their own videos. Join us live for the Omaha News on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on NET and follow us on Facebook.
I think this needs to be rotated just a hair more. Perhaps made a hair smaller as well. I think you can, yeah, so maybe it was just a little bit too feathered.
And follow us on Facebook.
Oh, you can see down here that doesn't really line up. So it should be flush with the TV. Oh, cool. Oh my god, I hope it's saved.
Videos. Join us live for the Omaha News on Wednesdays at
This, it did not agree.
p.m. on NET and follow us
Perfect. Okay, it's not absolutely perfect, but that's
on Facebook and Twitter at UNO the Omaha.
I'm gonna get it. Okay, and we'll watch it from the.
The Omaha News is a news program ran by UNO.
It started buffering.
The Omaha News is a news program ran by UNO students. Students develop their own news stories and create nonprofit advertisements with real-world clients. The Omaha News allows students to gain hands-on experience in the journalism industry while building professional relationships. Students develop unique story ideas, interview their own sources, and edit their own videos. Join us live for the Omaha News on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on NET and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at UNO the Omaha News.
The Omaha News.
Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that as a rough draft. That is something I would probably send to Dr. Allen or Jodine to get their feedback on if I have it done early. It's not ever the case that I have projects like this done early. It just so happens that making a tutorial made me do this a little bit earlier than I normally would. So I'm pretty happy with how it came out. The storyboard seems to have helped a lot as far as editing flow goes and like storyboarding. I did kind of move some stuff around on the fly, how it best made sense to me. And apart from some little color grading issues from this shot to this shot, I think it looks pretty good. So hopefully this video wasn't too long. I hope it helped a little bit. If you have any other Premiere type questions, feel free to ask me. If I were going to export this, I suppose I can export it. I'll just go to File up at the top, Export Media. And the first thing I'm going to do is click on the output name. And I'm going to go to my capstone folder, to the project folder. And I'm going to do the Omaha News Spot draft. save it as an MP4. And other than that, everything looks good. Make sure the format is H.264 match source. That will give you the highest quality. Then hit export. Okay, so it is done exporting, so I'm gonna go to File, Save, and I'm going to click out of this, and then I will go to my capstone folder, to the project folder where I saved the draft. The Omaha News is a news program ran by UNO students. Students develop their own news stories and create nonprofit advertisements with real-world clients. The Omaha News allows students to gain hands-on experience in the journalism industry while building professional relationships. Students develop unique story ideas, interview their own sources, and edit their own video. Looked a little choppy there. Students develop unique story ideas, interview their own sources, and edit their own videos. Join us live for the Omaha News on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on NET, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at UNO The Omaha News.
The Omaha News.
So this happened to work out well because the shot was with the Omaha News, like with the flyover. And hopefully that makes sense that that's the intro to the Omaha News, because this is just her looking at a skyline. But it is the intro of the Omaha News, so it would make sense if someone was watching the Omaha News for the first time, you'd see this. So we could do that, or we could do this shot on the TV and have her name in the lower third here, and then impose that on the TV here. I think it works well how it is, but that's just a storytelling element, I suppose. So I always like to watch the video right after I export it, just to make sure that it turned out okay, especially for final projects and stuff like that. So you want to make sure it's exactly 30, or if it's a news package, exactly 90. Sometimes you can go over, under with permission, but don't do that if you don't have permission. Okay, so that is the whole video. The file structure ended up, it's just the main audio project video. And some of these folders only have a couple things in them, but they will get bigger as you get bigger projects. So I hope that helped. Let me know if you have any questions, or if you want me to help you edit something, just let me know.